Okay, so this is lesson 12.1. We're going to compare lengths and learn how to order them. So over here in the virtual learning video, you got to watch a video where they put the worms in order by length. The yellow worm is longer than the red worm and the blue worm. So when a worm is longer, it's saying that it is bigger. So if I were to stretch a piece of string out, it would be bigger compared to another piece of string. So just like that, they're comparing the worms. The red worm is shorter than the blue worm. So it's saying that the red worm is shorter than the blue worm. And if it's shorter, that means it's smaller than another piece of string, or in this case, worms. Now the worms are in order from longest to shortest. So we put the longest worm first, then the second longest, and then the shortest. So shortest means the most small, and longest means the most big. So we're going to come down here to do you understand, show me. You're going to use the word shorter and shortest to describe two different worms above. So I'm going to start by describing the blue worm, and I'm using the word shorter, and I am going to say the blue worm is shorter, and I'm going to underline the word, than the yellow worm. I know it's not shorter than the red worm because the red worm is the shortest. So that is the only shortest one. But I know it's shorter than the yellow one because the yellow one is the longest. So now I need to use the word shortest. So I'm going to say the red worm is the shortest because there's no other worm that's smaller than the red worm. And I'm just going to underline it. So we use the word shorter and shortest to describe two different worms. So over here on guided practice, you're going to draw lines to show which object is the longest and which object is the shortest. So again, longest means most big, and shortest means most small. So whatever is in between there does not fall under longest or shortest. So, for example, out of these three pieces of chalk, the longest would be whichever one is the most big out of all three. So if I put my finger and I go down, is there any other piece of chalk that falls before this? Yeah, the big chalk right here does in the middle. It's the longest. It comes out the furthest compared to these two. So I know the middle chalk is the longest. Now when I look at the other two pieces of chalk, I want to know which is the shortest. Is this one shorter or the last one shorter? The last one is shorter. So that is the shortest. So just like that, we're going to come to number 2 and do that with our paintbrushes. So which one is the longest? If I were to put my finger on the first one, do I hit any other one? No. If I were to go this way, do I cut any off? Yes. So I know that that's not the longest. If I do that to the last one, I know that's not the longest. So since the first one didn't hit any paintbrush, I know that is the longest. So longest is the first one. Now let's see which one's the shortest out of these two. 1 or 2. Number 1 is shorter because this paintbrush right here has a couple more brushes right coming out up front. So just like that, you're going to do number 3 and 4 on your own. And we're going to do 5 together. So we're going to use the clues about length to color the crayons. So again, we're going to use the clues about length to color. So the shortest crayon is orange. So remember, when I see the word shortest, that means the most short. So which crayon over here comes to be the most short? Definitely not this middle one, because I can tell just by looking at it that it's longer. Let's see. If I put my finger down from this top one, do I have a crayon that's shorter? Yeah, the last one didn't even hit my finger. So I know that this last one is going to be orange, and I'm not going to color it in perfectly. So I know that the blue crayon is longer than the green crayon. So it didn't say it's the longest, so which one would be my blue crayon? The first one or the second one? So the blue crayon is longer than the green crayon. So here's my green crayon. Oh, I don't know which one is my green crayon yet. But I know that the orange crayon is the shortest. So if I look at these two, I want to know which crayon is longer than the green. So if blue is going to be longer than green, that means that the blue crayon is my longest crayon. So this will be my blue crayon. And now I know that the top one is my green. So if I read my statements, does it make sense? The shortest crayon is orange. Yes. I'm just going to put a check. The blue crayon is longer than the green. Yep. So that tells me that my green crayon is correct. Okay, numbers 6 and 7. We're going to do number 6 together. You'll do number 7 on your own. So, Tomas paints a line that is longer than the blue line. What color line did he paint? Use the pictures to solve. So I'm using a black and white piece of paper, so I just labeled my pieces of paint. B for blue, Y for yellow, R for red. So Tomas paints a line that is longer than the blue line. So here's my blue line. And he painted one that is longer than the blue line. So I have two options to figure out what color did he paint. Yellow or red. Which one is longer than the blue line? If I take, instead of using my finger, I can also use a dotted line to help me. Which one is longer? Yellow or red? The red passes the blue, so that tells me that the red line is the color that he painted. So over here, I'm going to read it to you, and you're going to do the same. Again, I labeled the colors here. Amber's piece of chalk is shorter than the blue piece. What color is Amber's chalk? Amber's piece of chalk is shorter than the blue piece. What color is Amber's chalk? So now you're going to come over here. You're going to find the blue chalk and figure out which one is shorter. And that is your answer. Number 8, you're going to draw 3 lines with different lengths in order, from longest to shortest. Label the longest and shortest lines. So earlier when we looked at the worms, at the end they labeled the longest worm and the shortest worm. So just like that, you will label in the lines that you draw, the 3 lines, the longest and the shortest. So again, you're going to draw 3 lines with different lengths in order from longest, so the most big, to shortest, the most small. Then label the words, and I'm going to underline them in green so if you need help spelling, longest and shortest. Number 9, which best describes the pens? You're going to do that one on your own as well. The blue pen is longest, the red pen is longest, the green pen is longest, or the blue pen is shortest. Circle the answer that is true. Which best describes the pens?